Whilst the EU has formally approved the idea of allowing non-EU travelers to enter over the summer, this doesn't automatically mean that Europe is open. Nor does it mean that just because the EU has formally approved the idea of allowing vaccinated travelers to visit, that they will be allowed to enter without quarantine. The new white list will expand on the existing list of safe non-EU countries, from which travelers will be allowed to enter the EU for non-essential travel. But crucially, the announcement is just an agreement across all the member states, but EU countries can decide not to follow along or put their own travel restrictions in place. This is a brief explainer on what has been agreed and the issues it raises about who can come to European countries in the summer and how. Any traveller resident in a country on the white list will be allowed to visit an EU country, regardless of whether they have been vaccinated. This is currently only possible for a handful of countries, such as Australia, New Zealand and Israel. For a country to get onto the white list for access to EU countries for non-essential travel, there would be leeway for travelers to come from a country which doesn't meet this criteria if they were vaccinated, as reported by Reuters. Legally, this means they must have received the final dose of an EMA, European Medicine Agency, approved vaccine, at least 14 days before they arrive in an EU country. Vaccines that are not on the list of EU-approved vaccines would not count, unless a country included it themselves. Hungary is currently using the Russian vaccine in its vaccination campaign, for instance. Passengers must travel using the digital green certificate, after it has been rolled out across all EU countries expected by mid-June. Before then, each country will accept third country certificates provided they contain a minimum data set and are easy to understand. The questions this raises are around language. How would border officials understand documents in other languages? If a new variant is detected or the situation in an accepted third-party country rapidly deteriorates, member states should adopt an urgent, temporary restriction on all travel into the EU. This emergency brake will not apply to EU residents who find themselves overseas at that point, nor essential travelers. Just to be clear, while this is an agreement in principle, countries in the EU can choose to enforce additional travel restrictions, such as requiring quarantine or negative COVID-19 test results, even for the vaccinated. As reported by The Guardian, this means that vaccinated UK tourists, for instance, may still need to quarantine if the destination country required it. The first white list is expected to be announced Friday the 21st of May or early, the week after.